Um, so in previous session, we have seen restructure your uh, how to restructure your project. So these are the three layers we have. I hope you can see my screen. Okay. So yeah, we not yet used uh, entity framework, though we added entity framework here um, in the data section, but we didn't use it. So today we are going to see how to use entity framework. So in order to do that, um, here in patient data, which is our data layer, so we created a DB context and we named it as patient underscore DB context. So this is the DB context database context which we use in our entity, which will use to connect to our uh, database by using entity framework. So I'll make some changes to the business layer to use this entity. So first I'll go here, master service. So here we are using SQL connection. So I'll remove this SQL connection. So we are not going to use it. So SQL connection, remove it. So instead of removing, just comment out so that we can understand what is. Remove this, remove this. So remove this entire stuff here, remove this entire. Let's remove it. Anyway, we have, yeah, remove it. So first go to your, so this constructor, now it's taking a read only. You can remove this. So the moment, see now if you see these four namespaces, these two namespaces are fading. What does it mean? These are solid, these are like faded one. So what does it mean? That means these namespaces, the classes from these namespaces no longer in use. So you can remove these two. Okay, so read only patient DB context. So patient DB context. Patient DB context underscore patient DB context. So assign this one underscore patient DB context. So this DB context we use to retrieve data from the uh, entity framework. So there are various ways. I'm going to use link query. So where countries equal to patient DB context from patient in patient context dot we are getting the entire country list, right? So patient DB context dot countries dot to list, and we are going to return countries. So this is simple. Patient DB context will refer your database, and this countries will refer the data from the country table, and this toolist will bring all the data. So in the DB context, we specify DB set country. So this is a model, okay, country, and which representing your database table TBL country, okay, and this will specify this is a table in your database. This will specify this is a table in your database. So this is going to get all the data. So when you are pulling it, but let's put some breakpoints and see. Definitely there will be some errors. Okay, so how to retrieve where states, right? States. So countries we are pulling the entire data, but states we need to pull data based on the parameter we passed. So now we need to write link query from state in patient DB context states where condition state ID equal to ID, and convert this into to list dot to list return states. So this will take a ID parameter, and there is some error. A query must be end with a select. Okay. So where um, okay, select state. Okay. So this is going to return states based on the countries we specify. Okay. This is underscore. This is underscore. Okay. So let's see, it's going to throw some error definitely, and what error it is throwing, and what kind of changes we have to make. Let's see. There are some build errors itself. Cannot convert from. Okay, yeah. So remove this. It's not going to take SQL connection anymore. Remove this. Remove this. Comment out this. Okay. So it's going to throw an error. So there is something with patient service. So here this patient service is taking a um, parameter of patient DB context. We need to inject this from this program.cs. So how to inject um, your DB context? How to inject your DB context? Okay, so it's easy. First, you need to inject the DB context. So builder. So how to inject a service? Builder dot services dot add context. So this add context, by default it will add it will treat the object as a entity framework. So patient DB context, and options we need to provide the connection string. So even um, this entity framework needs a connection string. Okay, so option dot use SQL Server, use SQL Server. So again, builder dot configuration. So we know this test database we configured here, I guess, in the app settings. So this is no more app settings development. So this is no more test database. So this is our insurance database, right? Insurance dev. So this is insurance dev database. So configuration dot get connection string. Yeah, this will get the connection string from the configuration. Okay, so builder.services dot add db context. This will give the connection string, and now the service whatever we are the scope one. So so provider dot get required service of type patient db context. Yeah. So first of all, here we are injecting the db context at application level. We are injecting db context at application level, so that here we are injecting the same db context at service level. So first of all, if you want to use it in your service, you should have it on your application. So at line number 17, I'm injecting the db context by specifying the connection string so that it will know that is the database, and I'm getting a entity framework service for the entire application. And here at line number 31, I'm going to inject the db context at service level so that I can use the db context to pull the data. So let's run this. So try it out, execute. It hit the, so here you can see the db context, uh, where the db context, okay, provider, everything is fine. So you can see the models. So model id. Okay, so let's see. So here am I getting some error? Okay, invalid object name. What is that invalid object name? Invalid object name countries. So where did we specify the countries in the DB context? Why it's saying invalid context? Are we missing any? So activities. Any thoughts? What is the issue? So where we are specifying this is the table name. Let me on model create. So there are a couple of things I think we need to add. Mm, Just I'm looking at something. Okay, so we need to specify. I think we missed out few more things in the entity definition. So let's look at the definition for the entity class. So we need to create on model creating. So go to DB context class and we have to specify the we have to specify this countries is mapping to our country list, right? Somewhere we have to specify. So where we are going to do that? So there will be on model. So this is the definition. Look at the DB context. Okay, so something will be there on model. Yeah, this one on model we have to override in the DB context and specify this is the table. Okay, so here you create a public or protected override void on, you can see on model creating. Okay, so this on model creating, so model builder dot what method we have entity. So this will specify entity. So entity is country. Okay, so close this entity. So here we can specify entity dot to table. So what is the table name? Name of TBL country, right? See, TBL country. So what is the schema for this TBL country? I think it's DBO. So where you can see that table, it's DBO, right? All DBO. So you can change the schema also if you want. DBO. Remove this name of Let's see. I think it should work. Okay. So get countries. No, invalid column or description. Okay. So here, right. So we are getting the connection, but there is some mismatches between your table and your model. Where is your model? Go to your model. Yes. So here you have country. So this country has three columns, remarks, but yes, no, no need to change it. There is another way we can do that by using uh, data annotations. We'll call it as a data annotation. So data annotations, right? We can use the data annotations. So how can we use the data annotation? System.component model. Let's see. Using system dot component model dot data annotations. So the display name equal to remarks. Okay, actually we have to do that in a reverse manner. Yeah, it will not work. Yeah, it will throw an error. Yeah, it's in a reverse manner we have to use. Okay, let's don't complicate it. Okay, how to rename? Just rename remarks. So here in another table also remarks. Unable to cast object type of. Okay, so this is int 16, but we defined a int. So instead of int 16, because it's trying to get the data, and so there is a mismatch in the data and data type. Still data is null. This method or property cannot be called null values. Why it is null? Data is null. Okay, let's debug this. Okay, might be the remarks is a null. So we need to define a nullable value for that. That's what I'm thinking. View the details. Which property it is saying? Go to inner exception. Data is null. Uh, so for nullable, you can specify, where is this? Just define like this. If it still doesn't work, we can bypass that error in a different way. So like all these are errors when you try and execute. Yeah. So now you got three values. This is the data you are expecting, right? India, country. So I'll explain what I have done again. Okay, you're getting the data. Okay. So what we have done, go to your DB context class. So this DB context is very important in your entity framework. So everything you will define here. Okay, so this has a constructor. So in that constructor, I'm defining DB context of type patient DB context, and I'm calling base options. So this will make patient DB context as a database context for your entity framework. Then I'm defining the models. Those models can be used in the application. But how to establish connection between the models and the tables in the database? So on model creating, so this will be on model creating, you are specifying. So on model creating is a predefined method in the DB context class. So since patient DB context and DB context both are having parent-child relationship, now it's overriding the method. So in my object-oriented concept, I explained how to do overriding, what is overriding, and how the things will work when you do overriding. So please go through that video for more overriding concepts. Okay, so here I'm overriding on model creating method, and which will take a model builder as a parameter. So in the model builder, I am specifying country. So the model in my application is country. So that country, I'm mapping it to TBL country. So if you want to do the same for state, so model builder dot entity. So this is called lambda expression. So entity dot to table. So this will be TBL state, and this is schema DBO. Okay, there might be some, this is closing here, this is closing here. What else? We missed, did we miss something? So this is mapping to TBL state. So after that, I went to TBL country. I changed it to int 16 because my database type is small int. If it is a int in SQL Server, this will be int here. If it is a small int here, then this will be int 16. And also this remarks is a nullable value. Name and ID they are not nullable, but remarks is a nullable value. In C sharp we will specify nullable like this. So that means this column can be null. So here this is again nullable. Okay, let's see. But we need to specify the uh, primary and foreign key relation between these two tables, right? So how can I specify primary and foreign key relation between these two tables? So let's, so you understand? Any questions still now? I didn't specify. One is for connections. I didn't specify about connection string. I So in line number 31, I am injecting patient DB context to the service level. If if the service is taking that object as a constructor parameter. So here this is taking parameter. So if it's a constructor parameter, then you have to specify like this. And these are not two different services. So here you are getting the DB context, and here you are saying required DB context. The same DB context will be passed here. Yeah, you can, mhm. Let's see. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Like this. So in .NET Core, you have to build the middlewares here. So this is a middleware concept which is new to .NET Core, and you have to build it here only. Mhm. Ye- yes, yes. Yes. If you don't do that, it will throw an error because it's expecting a parameter here, right? So somewhere we should. So in this class, we don't have program.cs. So now here you are making use of master. So here you are using the master service. Okay. Okay. So now we have to specify um, relationship between this class and the country. So here, so public virtual country, I enumerable country or I collection country, I enumerable country, sorry, I enumerable state, states. So let's see. So put a breakpoint here in, yeah, yeah, we have get states. So try it out. Specify ID 2. Okay, we got ID here, I guess. So the ID2 passed here. Invalid column name country ID. Where is country ID? Where we have the country ID? Go to country, go to states. Where we have country ID, go to the states table. Country ID. So yeah, here you specify public. Okay, here also int ID, int 16, int 16 CID get set. Okay, so yeah, we wrote it state ID equal to, so this is not state ID. So basically CID equal to ID. We'll pass country ID and we'll retrieve the value states for the uh, passing country ID. got here. From where we are getting states. Okay, see this, what values you are getting. Patient DB context dot states. Let's see only the states. So from where we are getting the country ID. Okay, DB context dot states. So this is basically invalid name country ID. From where we are getting the country ID? Did we specify anywhere country ID? Country ID. Just search for country ID. So there is no country ID. Okay, just get where s equal to patient dot, yeah, just execute this line and see whether how the data we are getting. That should retrieve all the uh, states. Okay, invalid column country ID. Let's see from where we are getting country ID. Mm, just a quick search. How to specify relation in entity model, entity framework core model. So this is blog, this is post. So here in the class above, there is nothing to indicate blog and post filter. This can be added model by adding a reference post to blog on which it is published. So here, which is parent in object-oriented C#, the blog post typically represented by blog and post. So name, site URL, title, content, archived. So in the post, likewise the opposite direction. Okay, so I collection posts. We defined this. Okay, so table posts blog. So which is parent here and which is child? ID, title. Okay, blog ID. So a post can contain multiple blog IDs. So this is the state in our case, and this is country. So blog is a country in our case. So yes, we specify the posts here, and in the, okay, so this one we are missing. So in the country we specified I enumerable of states, but in the state we need to define like this. So state, so public, what is that? Country, right? Country, country. So let's see. Okay. So in entity framework, you need to understand the relationship. Did we get it or still we are getting invalid calling name country ID? Mm, we already defined CID, but still it's not satisfied. Let's see. Define country ID. If this doesn't work, I'll see. There might be some small issue. Uh, is it working? No. Invalid column name country ID. So see the SQL error connection. Go into the inner exception. There is no inner exception. Now what it is saying? ID. Earlier it said only ID and now it's saying ID. Why? Okay. Just a quick Google in entity framework. Yeah, in entity framework core. So templates required. The relation, there is some issue with the relation. So column type, column data. Okay. Can we convert this into I collection instead of okay. Remove this. I don't think we need this. But here in the country, we used I enumerable. So instead of that, yeah, it's not I enumerable. Basically, it's a I collection. Just see. No, I'll look into this one. So there might be some small um, setting we need to do. So here, SQL exception involved column name, country ID, uh, inner exception. So reading and understanding exceptions is one more task when you're developing. Okay. Yeah, I'll fix this one and I'll show tomorrow how to retrieve the data for this states. So here the problem is when you're retrieving country, you're getting the value because it doesn't have any parent child, but this state it has a parent child relationship and it's struggling to establish a relationship between those two. But I'll see there will be some small setting probably in the in this file itself we'll have. Let's do this one one more time. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so in that case it's yeah, there is a small setting we need to apply. I'll see that and I'll get back to you. But do you understand at least the retrieving the primary table or the table without any relationship, how it works? Okay. So did you try yesterday's session, the restructuring of the project? Or you guys have any questions? Okay, so please try continue entity framework and let me know if you see any issues.